Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Live at 5. My name is Stanley Philippe. If you were just tuning in to our amazing general presentation that happened at 4 o'clock, thank you for sticking around to hear more about athletics and our clubs and societies. And if this is your very first time checking in on one of our virtual events, welcome. We've got a lot of really cool things happening throughout the next few weeks and the next few months to really help you understand what Carleton is all about and to really help you kind of navigate these kind of post-secondary opportunities that you'll want to tap into. So like I just mentioned, today's Live at 5 is going to feature our athletics as well as our clubs and societies. And I'm really happy that I'm the person to help kind of, not narrate, but host this event because I have a bit of a history with athletics at Carleton. I don't want to brag. I probably shouldn't say this on the live, but I'm a 5-time intramural volleyball champion. So that means I have a real kind of background with regards to that winning culture that you're going to want to see here at the university. So really excited to be able to talk a bit more about what our school has to offer with regards to athletics as well as our clubs and our societies. And we're going to be hearing from a couple of folks that have some really cool stories to share and some good information for you to have as well. To begin, I'd like to acknowledge where we are located. So Carleton University acknowledges the location of its campus on the traditional unceded territories of the Algonquin Nation. And like I mentioned earlier, we've got a lot of really cool ways for us to reach out to you from the comfort of your own home. The Live at 5 is happening every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Once today's event is done, you'll be able to look forward to next week's Live at 5, where we're going to feature our housing department. So for all you folks that are thinking about living on campus, living in residence, curious about what residence is like at Carleton U, you're going to want to check out our next Live at 5 on October 7th. But don't leave this one because, again, there's some really cool things that we're going to chat about in a little bit. There's a new podcast in town. It's called The Talking Raven. I am your gracious host of that podcast, and it's just another cool way for you to get inside the Carleton community and to hear from our students who really are the heartbeat of our school. So you'll be able to check that out on Spotify, on your Apple playlist as well. Pretty much wherever you get your podcast from will be there. And then finally, the Future Raven Coffee Breaks. Now, these are a brand new initiative to give you a chance to have more of an intimate kind of one-on-one chat with myself or one of my awesome recruitment colleagues here at Carleton U. So if you wanted to kind of break down the application process or touch base on a few of the different programs you're looking at, or really just wanted somebody to kind of walk you through what it's going to look like once you become a student at Carleton, you're going to want to book this Future Ravens Coffee Break. So the way you do that is by visiting admissions.carleton.ca/coffee break. Again, that's admissions.carleton.ca/coffee break. And this could be a one-on-one coffee break. This could be between yourself, your parents, and us. You can bring your friends. You can bring some coffee during the coffee break, obviously virtually. And we can, again, chat a bit more about the cool options that are available at Carleton University. Okay, so it's now time for me to bring our first guest to our conversation. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to be kind of off screen, but you'll still hear my voice and I'll be able to ask some questions on your behalf, and you'll also be able to ask questions too. So if you have any questions or comments about athletics or club and societies, you can shoot those questions into the Q&A. I'll take a look at that and see if we can kind of pop in some of those questions live. But we'll also have members of our team in the background ready to answer those questions for you too. And then I'm going to bring forward our guest on the screen. So the first person you're going to see is Harry. He's a great guy. He works in athletics and he's got a lot of cool things to say. So you're going to see Harry now.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Harry, how are you?
Good, good. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you gave me such a wonderful intro.
Well, you deserve it. You deserve. You're such a great guy.
I'm
Harry,
not a
for
five-time intramural champion though, man. But I don't have that going for me.
hey, we can't all be superstars. Harry, for those who don't know you, maybe tell us a bit about your Carleton story. So, what program did you study in, and how did you end up working in athletics?
Yeah, for sure. So funny enough, I actually personally did not actually end up going to Carleton, which is looking back, I wish I kind of did. But I actually studied for 5 years at a different university at Laurier in Waterloo. I studied there for 5 years, and I did a major in philosophy with a minor in English and anthropology. So very a little bit of an obscure degree, but I'm also a little bit of a like I kind of like all those things combined. And then in my 5th year, I applied to a job within housing and residence life, which you guys will have next after me. And I somehow managed to get a job there and worked 2 years there professionally. And then from there, bounced towards international admissions, and I worked with amongst the lovely people that are on this call as well, and essentially traveled around the world representing the university and talked about all the wonderful things that the school has to offer. And then around that time, I was in that role for a year, and then Carleton Athletics had a job opened up, and Carleton Athletics offers a lot of really, really cool, neat things, and I was very interested in to see what they had in store. And I heard there was this really great guy that was a 5-year like champion that used to work here, really hyped up the department. So I tossed an application in, and here I am. So I've been here for a year now, so it's been really wonderful to work here.
I love how that's the thing. You know what? I forgot to bring down my mug. I have a mug that I got after winning one of my championships. But enough about me and my intramural background, because the folks that are listening in want to hear more about how they can get involved at Carleton with regards to the athletics experience. So on the screen, you're going to see a few photos of our facilities. So maybe what you can do is tell us what our facilities are like. If students want to get fit, want to get involved in different activities, what can they do, and what are the facilities available to them?
Yeah, for sure. So there are a lot of things that are available to you right now, and a lot of the things that we're doing, we're being very mindful given the times with COVID-19 and being very careful with interactions with people that are around the building. So right now, if you're looking to do anything in our facilities, whether it's workout or if you're looking to go for a swim or whatever that may be, we're asking everyone to book ahead. So we have it all set up on our Carleton Athletics website, or even if you don't go through our Carleton Athletics website, if you just go on the general Carleton website, you can navigate your way to our athletics webpage. And there, if you want to go through, you can just essentially book for anything you want to use. So right now, what we have offered is the gym, so you can go work out. We usually have our workout starting at 7 a.m. in the morning, and then it goes all the way until 8 or 9 p.m. And you can also use the pool. So right now we have lane swims open for half the pool and the whole pool. So if you decide that you want to come for a little dip, I personally can't swim, but I'm sure you're awesome at it. So what you can do is you can come and you can go through and use some of our lane swims. We also have intramurals in Campus Rec that has just started up. So when it comes to those, so we actually have intramural badminton, intramural volleyball, and we also have other sports. Like, for example, we have our field house open for Campus Rec, where you can go around and kick a soccer ball around, or for example, you want to just like run the track, we have the track open for you too. So if you want to kind of get back into shape, back into those kind of things, we do have those as well. And we do have our fields open as well. So for example, if you are interested in soccer intramurals, what you can do is you can go play outside and sign up as a team or sign up as an individual and start to get to know people and eventually get into a team. You can then go outside and have soccer games that you can play as well. And we also even have our 4-on-4 hockey leagues that are back too. So you'll find that we have 2 separate buildings. So an alumni hall is where you'll see a lot of those sports like soccer, badminton, those kind of things. And then in the ice house, we have our rinks back online too. So you can do 4-on-4 hockey there if that's something that interests you. And we also have a learn to skate program that is back as well. So you can learn how to, from the scratch, if you don't know how to skate like me, you can learn how to skate right from the get-go. Or if you're like, I'm a little bit more advanced, we have our open skates that are there as well, but also our recreational skates. So that's what you see kind of going through our department as well. But there's also many other places that you can kind of get involved. So right now, when you see what I see from up the screen there too, we have a picture of our HPC, and that's a good segue to talk a little bit about our varsity athletes too. So if you do kind of walk around our facilities, you will end up seeing that our varsity athletes are back and they're slowly practicing. Their season isn't starting until January, but right now we do have people back in our Ravens Nest, which is our big gym where people usually play basketball. But we have people there. We have our varsity teams back on the field as well, and we're also back in our HPC, which is our varsity gym for athletes there. So we have a lot of really cool things that are coming up. And then I'm going to touch on this a little bit later, but one of the neatest things is our esports league. But generally speaking, we're slowly getting all those things back together. So this is actually our first week of having both Campus Rec and Intramurals back. And for the most part, people are really excited to be back and be able to play sports again. So it's been really nice to see that.
Now, you'll see on the screen a website, carleton.ca/virtual tour. So one of the things we've done this year is really kind of expand and create an amazing, immersive virtual experience for the students who aren't able to obviously come on campus with everything that's happening with COVID-19, but still want to get a sense as to what our facilities look like. So I would really encourage you to do a tour of our campus virtually by visiting carleton.ca/virtual tour. Now, you did touch on some of our varsity sports and our intramurals as well. One of the questions we get on the road regards varsity versus competitive club. So if you can explain the difference between the two and what other ways our students can, try out for these amazing sports teams.
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to just the difference between a varsity sport and a competitive team as well, is one is essentially defined as like a competitive club and one is defined as a varsity team. So really it just depends on the league that you'll end up playing, right? So for example, here we have certain teams that are deemed as like varsity teams. So for example, our basketball team, our fencing team, our soccer team, our hockey team, they all play in a varsity league. So that's where they'll be oriented within, and then you'll find that our competitive club teams, they're the ones that are in a different league of sorts where they'll be playing together. So for example, you'll see like equestrian, kendo, or figure skating, like teams like that. When it comes to varsity, a lot of the times people are looking to see how they can try out for those kind of teams. So when it comes to the varsity teams, it's specifically looking to further your student athlete career, so then you can potentially use that as a launching pad to a professional career. This isn't to say that the competitive clubs won't do that for you, but the varsity sports aspect is really the bigger platform to kind of propel you into that. So we do see a lot of people inquiring about, how do I end up playing on the varsity basketball team, or how do I end up playing for the varsity soccer team, so on and so forth. And I would say each team has a little bit of a different way of going about it. At the end of the day, it really depends on how the team scouts and go about actually choosing their players. So for example, our varsity soccer team, one year they might do like a tryout where they will have people be able to come in while they're here on campus for the first couple of weeks or even before that, and just come in and actually do a tryout with our teams. Where other times, for example, with our varsity basketball team, the coach will then get connected with you, right? And there'll be a lot more scouting involved in those kind of scenarios. So if you're interested in being in the varsity level of sports, a really good thing to do is start to just get connected with us right when you get here from the get-go, right? So because every year it's kind of changes, especially with this year, because last year, for example, for our varsity soccer team, we did walk-ons, and the year before that we did that as well. But then maybe 3 years ago we didn't do that, right? So it really evolves from year to year. So if you do have that interest, you are interested in doing that, my best advice to you is when you are here, or even if you're connected with our UGR undergraduate recruitment team, is to get our contact information and we can put you in touch with one of our coaches. And they, from that scenario, can then share some of the information that they have for you in regards to how to get part of those kind of teams. But you'll find that it's one of the biggest pulls that we have at athletics, where a lot of people just like to see people walking around in the varsity jerseys, and even in the competitive club jerseys. And for either or, probably getting connected with the people that actually head that are probably the best way for you to go about getting more involved in that sense, right? But it doesn't mean that you have to have this full-blown experience coming in. You could come into your first year, get connected, and from there have a connection with a coach and see where that takes you as well.
Awesome. Now, if you're just tuning in, we are having a conversation with Harry, who is a member of our athletics department. And Harry, there was a question that was asked in the Q&A about fees. And so the facilities that we showed earlier, are they free to access, or is there a charge to get access to, let's say, the swimming pool, for example?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So actually, there's no fee. So right now, if you're looking to use the pool, or if you're looking to use Norm Fen, or if you're looking to use Raven's Nest, all of that is part of your student membership. So you don't have to worry about paying for that on top of what you already have as a student. So for example, if you're looking to swim, all you really need to do is just book a time slot. If, for example, if you're a part of a league, or you're looking to be part of a league, all you'd have to do specifically with the intramural leagues, you actually do have to pay, my apologies. So for student fees, roughly $40 as an individual if you're looking to sign up a team. But even when it comes to this, like swims, if you're looking to just do campus recs, or you're just looking to kick around with a couple of friends at a certain point in time, or if you're just looking to do the campus rec badminton or campus rec volleyball, where you kind of just drop in and play with your friends, that is all free for you. Anything that is scheduled, so for example, like an intramural, that you would have to pay the student fee. But then again, to reiterate, something like the pool would be free to you.
Awesome. And then before we let you go, you'll see on the screen it says new this year, esports. So let's have a quick conversation about the Ontario Esports League. So what are esports, and what was our role, Carleton's role, in starting the Ontario Esports League?
Yeah, for sure. So the esports, generally speaking, is kind of sounds self-explanatory, but it's not, in the sense of that there's just a lot of, like, it's an electronic way for you to get involved in different sports, but also just different games, and kind of get connected with the online community. And Carleton really spearheaded a lot of that conversation amongst the university to get that propelled, to begin a league amongst different universities, to then have people involved in different video games, for example, like NHL 20 or FIFA 20 or NBA 2K20 or whatever that may be. But it isn't just sports leagues as well, because we had a really big uptake with that, because obviously, given the times, it's a cool time to kind of use the online platform that we already have to then engage ourselves in sports in an online fashion. So using, for example, like FIFA, NHL, all those games, it created such a big interest that we now have just created just an e-league, in the sense of now we are also now operating under having a League of Legends league, or we also have one for multiple other different role-playing games and things like that. So it has kind of evolved from just having like a sports-oriented lens on it, to now being just a general wide-scape video game league. Right? And then amongst yourselves here at Carleton, it's free for you to join. You would be in like a round robin tournament, playing against other peers and colleagues and people that you would see, or your students or your fellow friends amongst Carleton, to see who would be essentially the esports king or queen, and to see who has the best bragging rights, and whether or not you'll be like Sten Lee and have 5 championships in a row, who knows? But it's a really cool way to kind of flex that online presence that we have already, and just get you involved in some of the stuff that we do.
So if you for the folks who are listening in and watching, if you are interested in learning more about the Ontario Esports League, you can visit OPS Esports. That's all one word. So opsesports.ca to learn more about this awesome league that we really helped found and are excelling in. So definitely check that out. Harry, I want to thank you so much for chatting with us. I want to tell you I miss you, man. It's been so long since we've seen each other, and I really appreciate your time and any kind of parting words for our audience.
Well, first of all, you guys are in great hands, but at the same time, I'm very much looking forward to potentially seeing you guys on campus sometime soon. Again, you're in very good hands. Stanley and the rest of the crew here are very much going to show you everything you need to know about this university and hopefully bring you into a very positive environment. It was very nice seeing you all, eh? Take care.
All right, thanks, Harry. So the next person you're going to see on screen, folks, is another legend. Her name is Celine, and she's going to be popping up now. All right, hey, Celine.
Hey, Stan. Hi, folks watching. Thanks so much for having me on here tonight.
Now, if you were having a bit of deja vu, it's because Celine literally rocked a presentation earlier today, and she gave an amazing talk about all the really cool things that Carleton has to offer. But one thing that Celine didn't kind of reveal to you all is that she has a really cool background when she was a student working on campus. So, Celine, tell us a bit more about what you did, and specifically working with the SEO.
Yeah, for sure. So, I was going through my undergrad degree, and I actually was a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry student, and just enjoying my time. And then one summer I decided that I didn't want to go back home to my small town in Muskoka, Ontario, and I wanted to stay in Ottawa and get a job here. So I actually found out there was a position within Carleton at our student experience office. And the position was a summer orientation leader. So I applied for it, I got the job, and I was actually working with students coming from high school. They were transitioning into their first year of university, and they would basically come to this program in the summer for a day with their parents, their friends, whoever it was, and a group of us in the student experience office would basically, help that transition and introduce you to the campus. It was really the first touch for students to come and see Carleton. So we would do, campus tours and presentations and basically tell you all things that you needed to know before joining our community in September. So that was a really fun opportunity.
So you're going to see on screen, folks, a couple of really cool pictures of the different ways we support our students. And one of the ways we support students is by connecting them to our Carleton University Student Association, or CUSA. And I'm happy to say that in our chat, we do have a member of our CUSA executive. His name is Farouk. He is the Vice President Internal of CUSA, and he's more than happy to answer some of your questions. So if you have questions about our student association, what it does, how to get involved with CUSA, and more questions about the conversation we're about to have, please ask them to Farouk or to other members of our recruitment team in the Q&A. Okay, so the Therapy Dog program is something that we love to talk about, but what I want to chat about now is the clubs and societies that we have at Carleton. Celine, what would you tell if you were talking to a prospective student and they're telling you, hey, I want to make my mark at Carleton? How would you encourage them to do that? What would be the pathway that you would encourage them to take?
Yeah, for sure. It's a great question. I think like a lot of grade 12 students have that question, right? How am I going to continue, getting involved and not just in academics? And that really is to, break out of your comfort zone and join clubs and societies when you do get to university. It definitely helped me make friends and to be surrounded by people who were just like me, which was really cool. So in doing that, there's a really great opportunity when you get into your first year, your first week of university, you can actually go to an event called the Carleton Expo. And the Carleton Expo is where, our over 300 clubs and societies are lined up around this big room, basically. This year it was online, but still the same. And students are basically able to go up and sign up for any of the clubs that they find are interesting to them. And that's basically how you get to join a club and society, which is really great. It's really accessible. You don't have to go searching for all these clubs and societies. It's really right there in front of you. So yeah, that's a really great way to get involved there.
And you're going to see a list of some of the different clubs and societies that are available. We have over 300 clubs and societies to choose from. And we really encourage our students to become active members of our community. Now, to give our students a bit of an incentive, we created a little thing called the CoCurricular Record. Mm-hmm. So maybe you can chat a bit more about what that is and why students should be invested in really kind of developing their co-curricular record?
Yeah, so the co-curricular record, or we call it CCR for short, it basically is essentially it's an internal resume at Carleton. It's a place where, like, with whatever club and society you've been a part of, whatever volunteer experience that you've done that's a part of the Carleton community, anything that is really like important for students to be involved on campus, you can basically go on and add this to your personal co-curricular record. And on there, from first year all the way to fourth year, or however long you're at Carleton for, it'll start tracking all of these opportunities that you've been a part of. So it's really advantageous if you're applying internally at Carleton for jobs, right? Because if they're asking for, things that you've been a part of, you can basically flip this paper to them and say, these are all the things that I've done. And they're actually approved by sort of a senior person within that club and society, or within that office that you worked for. So it's basically like getting a reference without actually, having to go to someone and try and prove that you were a part of this. It's right there on the paper, which is really cool. What I really loved about it was actually, even when I graduated university, I was able to refer back to my personal CCR, or co-curricular record, and it would just remind me of the things that I really did do in university, because I think it's so easy to sort of forget those smaller things. But I was able to, organize all the things that I've done and take them into interviews post-graduation, and make sure I was hitting all those good points of the things that I've been involved with. So I thought it was really, really beneficial, to track all things that you've done at Carleton, which is great.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot, but you reference your own CCR. So if you can look at your, I guess your photo bank in your memory bank, and tell us what was your kind of #1 club or society, or I guess post in your CCR that you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that, or I'm so happy I got involved with that thing.
There's several things that I just had some amazing experiences being involved at Carleton, so I could go on for a while, but the one that I reference all the time, and if you folks tune into my presentation, my general presentation, you'll hear me talk about this, but Relay for Life was really my top dog. It was my baby going through university and my undergrad. So when I got to my first year, I went and I was able to join this committee, Relay for Life. And for those of you who don't know, it's basically a club or a society that raises money for cancer research. So something that really hit close to home for me. And so I was pumped about joining it. I really met an amazing family and created a really great community there. So I started off just as a regular committee member. I sat on a team that looked at some of the event planning and that sort of thing for the big main event that we do in March. But then as I went through my university career, every year I went back and joined this committee. And by the end, I was sort of what we call a head of the committee, which was someone who was sort of in charge of a group. And so I was mentoring and leading a group of students who were a part of this committee as well in our finance team. And so we actually ended up being the top fundraiser of all post-secondary universities in all of Canada, which was really exciting. And in my fourth year, it was our 10th year anniversary of running Relay for Life at Carleton. And over those 10 years, it accumulated that we had raised $1 million to cancer research. So something we were all so proud about. And I remember at the end of that big event, we actually wrote that $1 million number on the big check that we announced at the end of the night. So it was something that I feel like I'll never do again. It was like a once in a lifetime experience, and something that I was just so proud about by the end of my 4 years at Carleton. So
that's awesome. That's such a cool story, and it is kind of cool. I can see you writing $1 million on this massive kind of game show check, but it's actually going towards something extremely important. So
I still have my Snapchat story of that for sure.
No way. That's awesome. Well, maybe one day you'll share with all of us.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Celine, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for spending some time chatting with us. And folks, like Celine mentioned, she is one of our featured presenters for the our general fall presentation. So to hear more about Celine's story and other things Carleton have to offer, tune into our general presentations. Thank you, Celine.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, folks.
All right, so before we wrap things up, I saw in the questions there was someone who wanted to learn more about our CU Therapy Dog program. There's a really cool Instagram account at CU Therapy Dog. That's the letter C, the letter U, Therapy Dog. So definitely check that out, give them a follow, and you're just going to fall in love every single time you see our awesome therapy dogs. We also want you to visit 360.carleton.ca. This is an amazing university hub that will allow you to really dig deeper into the Carleton experience and to help you kind of customize your journey towards your future post-secondary home. And when you're on that website and you create your account, you can ask us to mail you a view book. Yes, this is the view book, and we want to mail you this book. So please go onto that website, request that view book. It's a really great resource to help you with your application, with the programs, athletics, club societies, and so on. A lot of good information there. And by creating that account, by getting a view book, by interacting with us, you get a chance to receive some Raven swag. I don't know if you noticed, I'm rocking my Ravens hoodie. If you want a hoodie like this, there are a lot of cool ways to do that. Follow us on Instagram, but also 360.carleton.ca is kind of your path towards getting and receiving some really cool Raven swag, including a mask to make sure you stay safe, but also are stylish while you do it. So this is the end of our Live at 5. I want to thank you all for tuning in. For those who are interested in connecting with our coaches for our varsity and competitive club teams, goravens.ca for more information on our athletic facilities, on our CU Fit Pass, and how you can take advantage of all the resources that are available, carleton.ca/athletics. And if you want to check out all the amazing club and societies that you can participate in, visit cusaonline.ca. So my name is Stanley Philippe. I really appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you next week when we talk about housing on our next Live at 5. All right, thank you so much and have an amazing day.